I woke up to a faint tapping noise. At first, I thought it was just a tree branch brushing against my window. I turned over, trying to fall back asleep, but the tapping continued, growing louder and more insistent. Reluctantly, I got out of bed and walked to the window. I pulled back the curtain and peered outside. The street was empty, and the tree outside was still. There was nothing that could be making the noise. Then I heard it again, louder this time. It was coming from inside the house. I turned around slowly, heart pounding in my chest. The hallway was dark and silent. I took a deep breath and stepped out of my room. The tapping echoed down the hall, drawing me towards the basement door. My hands shook as I reached for the doorknob. The door creaked open, revealing the pitch-black stairs leading down. The tapping was louder now, almost a knocking. I flipped the light switch, but nothing happened. The bulb must have burned out. I grabbed a flashlight from the nearby shelf and started down the stairs, the beam cutting through the darkness. Halfway down, the tapping stopped. I froze, listening. The silence was deafening. Then, a cold breath brushed against my neck. I spun around, but there was nothing there. The flashlight flickered, and I saw a shadow move at the bottom of the stairs. Gathering my courage, I descended the remaining steps. The basement was empty. Old boxes and furniture covered in dust sheets stood against the walls. I walked to the center of the room, shining the flashlight around. The air was cold and musty. Suddenly, the door at the top of the stairs slammed shut. I rushed back up, banging on the door, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped. Then, I heard the tapping again, right behind me. I turned slowly, the flashlight shaking in my hand. There, in the middle of the room, was a small wooden box I hadn't noticed before. I approached it cautiously. The tapping grew louder as I got closer. I knelt down and opened the box. Inside was a worn-out notebook and an old photograph. The picture was of a family, my family, but the faces were scratched out. I picked up the notebook and opened it. The first page read, "You shouldn't have come here." A chill ran down my spine as the room grew colder. The tapping was now a loud banging, coming from all around me. I dropped the notebook and backed away, but something grabbed my ankle. I looked down to see a hand emerging from the shadows. I screamed, trying to kick it away, but more hands reached out, pulling me into the darkness. My flashlight rolled away, the beam flickering until it went out completely. In the pitch black, the tapping turned into a whisper. "You can never leave." The next morning, the police found my house empty. No one knew where I had gone. But sometimes, late at night, if you stand outside my house, you can still hear the faint tapping.